Hey, and welcome to another edition of Planting with Fam. Captain Planted Fam here. Just wanted to thank you guys so much for showing me a bunch of love on the last video. I really appreciate it. You guys asked me to do another one, so here I am. This one is going to be talking about potting soil, and I'm actually going to pot a few plants with you guys and talk to you about what I use and the methods and things like that. And again, I'm no botanist, no professional, anything like that. I just like plants. I do some planting, and the methods that I'm using are not, I just try things and see what works, and it may not work for you. So everything depends on your environment, what you're comfortable with, what you can afford to use, and things like that. If you guys need any advice, please feel free to shoot me a comment or a message, PM. You can text me, call me, whatever. If you're a friend and you have my number. But basically, I wanted to talk to you guys about some soils and pots and things like that. So without further ado, first let's talk about soil. Soil. A lot of people ask me a lot of questions about soil and what I use. A lot of the plants that I grow are aroids, and they like to have like an airy soil. And a lot of these jungle plants that I have, they use, I plant all my plants, or not, well, most of my plants in the same soil, unless it's like a cactus or something like that. I do have cactus soil, I do have orchid soil, and I actually orchid mix. I use some of the orchid bark in my actual soil for my aroids as well, because it definitely, lets those roots breathe. And root rot is like the worst thing you can do is to pot plants in a certain soil and it get root rot. So I try to avoid that as much as possible. I try to avoid getting people into ordering plants and putting those plants in the wrong soil. So most of the plants that you'll see and the plants that I'm gonna sell to you guys, or if you get a plant from me, or if you see me potting a plant, it's going to be in a special mix. And let's talk about that. So first of all, I like to use cocoa husk. I use about 50% cocoa husk in my mix. And if you guys want to take a look, I've got a little bit of soil here under the table, and I want to show you guys so you guys can see. Mine has a lot of cocoa husk in it. We are going to keep those roots, have some airflow through them. They're not going to get stuck and clumpy. And if you guys buy Miracle Grow from Lowe's, it's a great, Miracle Grow is great. I use Miracle Grow soil for a lot of things, but Miracle Grow soil and the regular potting soil or multi-purpose potting soil is not great for these plants that I'm growing. Cocoa husk. I use 50% cocoa husk. I showed you guys that. I also use cocoa core or cocoa coir. I don't even know how you pronounce it, but you can get those two on Amazon. You get a big block of either one of them, put some warm water on it, it'll expand, then you mix it all up together. And I use 10%, 10 to 15% of cocoa core. Cocoa core is going to be like, kind of like a potting soil, little tiny, pieces, but the cocoa husk is going to be big chunks. So it's going to let that water flow through, let air flow through, things like that. So on top of that, you guys already know this, perlite, tons of perlite. I'll probably do 30% perlite. Perlite is your best friend. Perlite's definitely going to be something you want to put in your soil. You will see a lot of perlite in my soil. I dump bags and bags of it, and you can't see it, but under the table, I've got a huge Tupperware, huge container full of my soil. I pre-make a bunch of it just because on Amazon I buy that big block of cocoa husk and cocoa core, and it's hard to make just a little bit out of that, so you can't really chop off a piece. I just make the whole thing and I mix it all up together. And also I was telling you guys about the orchid bark. I do number 4, I do use orchid bark, and I take some out of my orchid soil, and yes, this is the Miracle Grow orchids mix. I take some of the orchid bark out of here and I put it into my soil as well. Last but not least, we have charcoal. I use charcoal. What does charcoal do for soil? Well, charcoal is it cleans impurities. So people have used it for cleaning drinking water, things like that. And it also will keep a neutral soil acidity level. So it'll keep, more base. It'll keep the acid out of the soil. And that's why I use it. And I use a little bit of it, not very much. You don't want to use just your basic grill charcoal that has a lighter fluid and stuff like that. You don't want to use that. You want to, if you're going to get charcoal, I honestly get it from Lowe's. It's just like the pure 100% organic, like wood chip charcoal. And that stuff works for me. I haven't killed any plants yet, and I've been using it for over a year. Works great. Haven't had any issues. Checking with my little tester. I stick it down in the soil. Not acidic. Working great. So we have cocoa husk, cocoa core, perlite, charcoal, and a little bit of bark. So those are the ingredients for my soil, and that's what I'm gonna keep using. Works well. You can use whatever you want. You don't have to use all of those. It's not, it's not necessary, but it may help, may not, whatever. It works for me. Try it. One more thing. I do put fertilizer in my mix. This is just all-purpose fertilizer. Now, I use, and I think I showed you guys before, a fish fertilizer. You can get it from Lowe's as well. This stuff. Now, when I first start plants, I use the stuff that's mixed that I just showed you. I use this one, and it's mixed into my soil. After, 5-6 months when this stuff's done, I use this in my water. And I also water with newt as well sometimes. And I also quarantine with newt. So maybe a little bit overkill. This stuff is the best. It works great. You can get this at Lowe's too, and I don't sell this stuff or anything. Any of this stuff I don't sell, except for plants sometimes. The only problem is this stuff stinks. This shit stinks really, really bad. So when I'm watering, like I mix it in my water jug and I water my plants, like this room smells like fish for like 2 days, 3 days. I literally I burn sage in here trying to get rid of it and the bad vibes. But this stuff's great. It makes my plants boom. Just sucks using it. Inside your house, I don't know. I don't know if I would even do that. Not very smart, because it's gonna smell like shit in your whole house. So let's talk about pots. So I use lots of terracotta pots, especially for plants that I may sell. Terracotta pots are great. Terracotta pots, they come with drainage holes in the bottom, and you want to make sure you have a drainage hole in the bottom. That's very important, especially if you're not used to watering plants. And terracotta pots actually absorb the moisture out of the soil, and they're porous. They are not like the coated pots that you guys get, and you guys can see I do use coated pots as well, like different ceramics and things like that, but these are used because I like having white nice pots inside my house. I have a modern furniture and things like that, and I don't like a lot of the terracotta pots around my house. Especially for beginners, these are really great. They're going to help you with the overwatering issue that's going to cause root rot. And you see a lot of people getting frustrated because they plant plants and they put them in these coated pots that are made for outdoors, and there's no breathability in it, and they keep watering it, and they've got a block of concrete soil that they end up killing the plant. If you guys do get a block of concrete soil also, don't keep putting water on it. It's going to get hard and rocky. The way to fix that, and I'll do a whole video about that as well, is to get like a bowl or a big tray of water and set that big block into it. Don't pour water on top of it. You want to set that block into that bucket, or not bucket, but bowl of water or tray of water, and let the water soak up from the bottom. That is going to be how you fix that. And then once the water soaks all the way to the top of that block, that concrete block of soil, then you can just put it back into the pot. Let's go ahead and get a plant potted. These are actually some of the plants, and actually I'm so excited to talk to you guys about this today, and like I've been wanting to like show you guys this plant, and I'm not trying to like show off or anything like that. I'm just really, really excited about this plant, so I wanted to show it to you guys. And we'll actually start with that plant. It is the Variegated Adansonii. I got my first Variegated Adansonii, and we're gonna pot that one first. I've got my tools over here on the side, you guys can see. I definitely am going to use some of these tools to cut away any of the stuff that I don't want. Let's go ahead and get started. My first little trick I want to show you guys, this is just a regular small paper towel sheet. I am going to I'm going to cut this one because this pot's really small. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stuff this down. One of the biggest issues that I've seen with holes in the bottom of pots and like toting it around if I want to water it, whatever I want to do, is that dirt goes everywhere. So I don't want dirt to get out, but I want water to drain. One trick that I've learned, stuff a paper towel down in it and then put your dirt in it. What happens is that allows for water to drain, but no dirt to come out. So problem solved. What I do is I like to push down the paper towel, and then I'll dump a little bit in and kind of just smooth it around and get a good, you don't have to pack it down too tight on it, but you just want to make sure that it's stuck in there and it's going to give me a good base. And then what I'll do is I will pour my mix in, and as you can see, I'm just kind of pouring it in. I'm not really gonna there's a big piece of charcoal. I'm not really gonna like pack it down. That's not what I want to do. So this is it. And I've got leaves coming here. This is the Variegated Adansonii. Yes, eat your heart out. This is it. This is the one. This is probably the most expensive plant I have. I'm not trying to show off or anything. I'm just so excited. Like, you have no idea. I was so worried to get this one shipped in. It's ridiculous. I was freaking out. When I got it, I've handled this thing with care. As you can see, my guy is sending me good plants with roots. He even packed it with this stick. I ain't even gonna take it off the stick. I just wanna leave it on there. Whatever it takes. I will like nurse this thing, baby it just to keep it going. And yes, you probably are gonna ask, am I gonna sell cuttings? Yeah, I'm definitely gonna sell some cuttings. I wanna get my money back. So, little yellow leafing now, and like I know I wanted the white one, but what I have learned from a lot of different growers is that these things can turn yellow, white, and it will actually can alternate, and it just really depends. So I'm excited to see this one come back to life, get it growing well, get these new leaves coming out, and see if I can get some white or even half moon out of this. But just looking at it, and I can tell underneath, if I put it in the light, I can actually like see underneath where the variegation is on it, and it looks like to be super white once this actually does grow. So what we're gonna do, and we're gonna pick a pot that's gonna fit the size. You don't want too big, you don't want one too small. You wanna have room for the roots to grow, and you don't wanna have one too big because your plant won't grow properly. So I like to pick a good, nice size for my plant. What we're gonna do is, and I'm really careful, and this one I'm gonna be extra careful with. A lot of plants you don't necessarily have to be this careful with, but this is a very, very rare, expensive plant. So I'm gonna be super careful when I place this down. And mind you, you don't want the roots to be super dry when you do this because you're gonna be messing around with them. But what I'll do is I'll tuck it right down in, and I'm going to make sure that these roots are in good positioning. I don't want to have them get messed up. And again, if they're dry, they're gonna like get all crimpy, and that's something that you don't want either. So I'm gonna just place it right in here. I'm gonna hold it steady, and then I'm just gonna pour the soil in, okay? That's all I'm gonna do is just pour the soil in. And you're gonna see, I'm not gonna pack it down. Do not pack your soil down. Don't smush it. Don't smush your soil. People are always like, ugh, and they're trying to like pack it down. Don't do that, guys. It's not good. You don't want to pack your soil down. You want to make sure that like these have room to breathe. And yeah, if you've got a plant that's looking a little flimsy and it's like falling over and stuff, cool, no problem. Pack it a little bit around the base of the stem so that your plant sits upright, but you don't want to pack it down and smush this down really hard. I also top my soil with sphagnum moss. I've been using this stuff from Lowe's just because it was easy to get. I'm sure you can find it cheaper, better, whatever. This is just what I use. I like to do like about an inch on top of my soil. I don't put this in my soil. Again, I do not put this in my soil. But what I will do is I will layer this stuff around the base of the plant. And what's going to happen is this is going to keep the moisture in there. And that's what I want. Okay, I want that moisture in there. I don't want soggy soil, but I do want the moisture. And then what I'll do is I'll give it a little spray just to kind of hold that, get the moss moist and hold that down. And another thing that you guys might want to invest in, Jimmy, if you're watching this, yes, this is a reptile. This is his. This is my buddy's that I took. It's just a mister for reptiles. I found this works great. Basically, you just pump it and it sprays. It does great coverage, and it sprays for a long time on one fill. So I really like that. It's really good. If you guys don't have a humidifier, that's going to be great for you guys to use. So you definitely want to, have moisture. You want to have humidity in the area that these plants are growing. You definitely want to have some humidity in the area. It's super important to have that. Another thing that I want to talk to you guys about is once you get these plants and get ready to pot them, always check your root system. I'm looking here and checking for anything that might be rot, any black or brown in the roots, because your roots are the most important thing. And if you don't have a good root system but you got a whole lot of leaves, some people like to cut those leaves back. Even if they're good, they like to cut them back. And the reason is because you may not have the root system to support all of the leaves that you have. So, what I like to see is this. It's super white, nice, great looking root system. There's no rot, no black, anything like that. And all of the leaves on this are great. So this is actually this is a ready to go plant, ready to sell. I could sell this now and get prime out of it because there's no issues. There's no leaf damage. There's no root damage, nothing. This thing is booming. So this is exactly what you're looking for. Sorry for my sniffles too. It's really humid in here. It's like 90 something percent and I don't even have the humidifier on. It's just like that. It's been raining here in North Carolina. So get us a little starter bit there. And if you notice, you don't want to put your plant roots all the way to the bottom of the pot. There's a couple reasons for that. One good reason would be if you're watering it, water sits at the bottom, whatever it may be. Sorry, I'm worried about Kari eating this damn Adansonii. But there's a little rim. I don't know if you guys can see that. But there's a rim inside these terracottas. And typically what I would like to do is to put soil into up to that line. And what I'll do from there is I will then pot the plant. And I'll pot it from that point. That way I know the roots only go to that point. And there's a a good bit of room underneath so that the water can flow through. So, plants, a lot of plants, you do have some that like to sit in water. There are plants like that, pitchers, traps, fly traps and things like that. But these plants don't like that. A lot of plants like the water to run past the roots. They'll suck up what they need and they don't want to sit in it. So this is going to help you to keep that at bay by, putting the soil up to that point and then putting your plant where the roots are and they have some room from the bottom of the pot. And they will end up growing to the bottom of the pot and they'll grow and grow and grow and then you'll have to repot it. All right. What I'm gonna do is just, again, I'm gonna hold her steady, mix this up because I just put a little bit more fertilizer in there because I added some soil. I'm gonna hold it steady. I'm gonna dump it in. And a lot of people try to dump and turn and dump and move. I like to hold it steady, dump on one side and just keep holding it steady and just, dump where you need to fill it up and then push that soil around. If you do that, you're not going to be juggling things and trying to figure out, placement and all that good stuff. It's gonna sit right. It's gonna be exactly how you want it. So just take my advice and move the soil around. Dump a big pile in one part of the pot and then just move that. And that, it's not even full, and it's sitting up right now. And I want the plant to sit right in the middle. So I'm gonna dump into that one spot, and then I'm just gonna spread it around. Make things nice and easy, make this plant sit up exactly how I want and not have any kind of issues. I'm just going to lay this on here, and I'm just gonna spread it out, and I'm not gonna pack it down. You can lightly pat it, lightly pack it, doesn't matter, but don't smush the soil. Don't do it. Then after that, we add a little bit of our trusty sphagnum moss. Keep this baby moist. And again, I'm not doing much. I'm really just gonna put a little bit. I don't really wanna overkill. I don't wanna overdo it. People probably wonder about cost. Okay, listen. If you guys are buying plants that cost this much money, take care of them. And remember, you buy a plant, let's say you buy this plant right now for $100. As this plant grows and pops out new leaves, you can propagate it. You can make 2 plants out of it, 3 plants out of it. You can also let it grow and it'll be worth more. So as the plant grows, it's gonna cost more. So no, you don't have to sell plants. But remember, the value is growing up, the value is growing and going up. And this is an investment. This is what you're doing, and you want to take care of your stuff. This is nice stuff. Don't let them die. And one thing that you guys can do before you step up to buying any of these expensive plants is just go to Lowe's, go over to the indoor clearance rack, and grab a couple plants off of that. That's exactly how I started. That's probably what made me good at plants, was I was going and buying the rehab plants at Lowe's. That helped me out so much because you can get orchids and things for so cheap. I'm buying these orchid pots. I probably have some sitting around here, not directly in here, but I have orchid pots all over the place and tons of them because I just would go and buy them and I would rehab them. And that really is what got me good at doing orchids. So, and orchids are pretty tough. And, I think no plant is actually hard. It's about patience, and there's not plants that are harder than others. Yes, they're more difficult to grow, but at the same time, not really. They just require different things. So if you give them what they want, whatever that may be, they will grow. I promise you. And I just learned about this corpse plant here. And this thing is crazy, by the way, if you guys can see it. Zoom in on it if you can. I will, I'm going to be doing some posting of it. But I had no idea what to do. That bulb sat in my closet all winter. As soon as it started getting warm, I started to put it out, and it started showing me this little tiny nub, and now it's it bloomed, it went crazy. It's weird looking, looks like a reptile. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, one thing that I want you guys to pay attention to is the humidity, in your environment. You can get on Amazon, I bought just a $30 Honeywell humidifier, a normal house humidifier, and that has done, it's done wonders for me. It definitely changed my game. You may not need it, but another great investment for you guys is going to be one of these bad boys. Now, the humidity's gone down a little bit because I've been opening and closing the door, coming in and out of here, which happens all the time because this is in the front of my house. But you basically can check your humidity, which you can see now it's at 79. It was at 90 something earlier, and it probably stay at 90 something. If I had the humidifier going, it would be definitely almost 100. The lowest that I have seen our humidity get here was probably about 30 something, maybe 30, 40%, somewhere around there. You want to keep your humidity at around at least 50%, minimum 50%. 50% is great for any of these plants. that's what I've seen to grow my plants really well. And you can check that by getting one of these on Amazon. It's just a humidity, digital humidity tester. It also tells you the temperature and things like that, so you can see the temperature on here. And yeah, it's a really good investment to have. I highly suggest having one of these. Really good. It's cheap. I think it was like 15 bucks or something like that. And yeah, get you one of these. Really good. Another good thing is with that soil tester that I was telling you guys about. They have those at Lowe's too, and it's kind of shaped like this. It's got little prongs and a little digital readout. Doesn't even take batteries. Stick it down in, it'll tell you how wet the soil, how moist the soil is. It'll tell you how much pH is in there. It also has a meter on it for light, and it'll tell you I don't think it does like par, but I know it does tell you how much light. So you can test and see like how much light your plant's getting right there. Most of the plants that I have though are understory plants. These plants are in the bottom of the jungle, so they're not getting much light anyway. And they will climb for the light, a lot of the ones that I have. So yeah, definitely want to test those things. And if you can test them cheap like that, technology's come a long way. So definitely, get some of these things that I'm telling you. And they're only like 15, 20 bucks for these little tools. So really worth it to have. It'll help you guys out a whole lot and make sure that, these plants that you guys buy stay alive. And that's the most important thing, is we want to keep these plants alive. Another good one. This is the Burl Marx or Mar or whatever, however you pronounce it, don't know. Got a good little half moon right there. Half moon variegation is when half of it, obviously, half moon. So I want to talk to you guys too about this dragon scale plant. This plant is so dope. And I don't know if you guys have grown them before. They're really cool. Somebody's supposed to be getting one from me. And if you watch this video, one thing that I've found when I get these dragon scales, these alocasias, they definitely, the roots, when they're small like this, the roots they get really soggy, and they're flimsy, and they're very, very fragile. I honestly, I'm probably gonna lose one due to that. And I have another one after I figured the first one out, which I'm learning as well. I'm learning with you guys too. So don't think that, again, I told you guys, like, I'm no pro, I'm learning as well. Just a good learner. And I've learned to read and listen to plants and, let them show me the signs of what they need. I do have one here, and I had to actually I went ahead and clipped 2 of the leaves, then, like I was telling you guys earlier, because first of all, the leaves were curling a little bit. As you can see, this one's doing a little. And I'm not gonna let anyone buy this plant until I get it all nice and back and get it rooted. But a lot of the roots fell off, so I went ahead and cut these because it didn't have a root system to support the leaves anyway. And so hopefully I'll get some growth back out of it, which would be really good. But, I'm learning these silver dragon alocasias are really fragile. The root systems are really fragile. The leaves are super coarse and like reptilian, I like to say. But yeah, they're definitely fragile. These roots are really fragile. And, it makes me worry when potting them, because I don't want to get any rot at all. And I can definitely see like bad things happening with these plants for sure. And, it might not help that I quarantine them in water either. But hey, we're learning. We're all here to try to gain some knowledge of these plants, and that's what's going to happen. Can see a little new leaf coming there. But to be honest with you guys, I don't even know if I'm going to keep it. I think I might clip it, just because I want to take that energy of it trying to give me this new leaf and put that into roots. I want my root game strong. That's what you want. You want your root game strong. Roots are, what make the plant. It's not what you see. It's what's below the surface. That's definitely, you guys, especially right now, a lot of you guys could use that with what's going on in the world. We're not going to get into that. I'm not, this is not that kind of show. This is a love, positive, plant some shit, and enjoy nature type of deal. So hopefully, yeah, it looks good. And honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and clip this now that I was talking about it. I do not want this thing to grow this leaf. So sucks, but it's gonna be better for the plant. When you guys are clipping too, make sure the tools you have are nice and sharp, number one, and are clean. Isopropyl alcohol, or use something new. You can use X-Acto blades. Everybody uses something different, but you don't want to get some germs on these plants. You don't want bacteria getting in there, and especially after you cut something, it's wounded, and you want to make sure. I mean, it's just like surgery. You want to make sure that it's nice and clean. All right, another really cool plant that I want to show you guys and talk about. This is on a lot of people's list right now. I've seen people going crazy over these. I've actually got I've got a bigger one in the back. And this plant is super, super cool. I love it. Give you guys a good look at it. So it's like camo colors. Really, really cool plant. You see this one's got some good roots, but this plant is on tons of people's wish list right now. I mean, I've seen people on Facebook and on these websites and forums. People are going crazy over this thing. Prices are going crazy as well. I've seen prices jacking up like, super, super high for these things. I think I saw one in a Facebook auction. I think it was yesterday or a couple of days ago. Went for like $250 or something crazy, about the size that I have back here. I don't know if you guys can see it back in the back, but yeah, you can't really see how big it is. But yeah, they're definitely getting up there for this one. And it wasn't that expensive in the beginning. It really wasn't. Years ago, it wasn't that expensive, and that was before I was even doing plants. So I've actually only been doing plants for a couple years. I've been growing corals and things for a long time, for about 10 or 15 years or so. But plants, I really haven't been doing too long. And it wasn't that big of a transition for me. I kind of got really good at it instantly because I've been growing things for a while. So, and I've always been into plants and animals and nature and things like that. So on this one, I'm not gonna clip the new leaf. This one, the root system was really well, not like that Alocasia silver dragon. This one, I'm gonna leave as is. It's gonna be fine. It's not something that I need to worry about right now because the roots look great, and the root system that it has can support the leaves that are coming out. And it actually has 2 leaves, it looks like, gonna come out eventually. So one is almost there, but it is yellow. If that leaf does come out, and even if it doesn't, or if it starts shriveling or anything, but if it comes out and it's yellow and it doesn't turn green and it's just not looking great, I'll clip that. I'll clip that instantly because I don't want to waste bad energy. Not bad energy. Jeez. I don't want to waste this energy that I could be putting it into making another leaf. So I'll clip it. It's probably going to die anyway. Maybe it'll, boost my root system, something like that. But, you're not going to have it. I'm not going to have this plant wasting energy on something that's kind of not going to live anyway. Just want to show you guys this thing again. Look at that thing. Oh, man. Probably my favorite plant. So, let's talk about this plant. All right, I'm actually glad this happened. It gives me something, it gives me a project. So, with this is just, it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. You could take this plant and these things are called nodes. So right here where this is growing out is a node, okay? That's a growth point on this plant. So I've got leaf damage, still green. This leaf isn't dying. It's got a new leaf here. One leaf actually fell off in quarantine. This plant did not do well in transit. This plant it's not gonna die, but it's not ready to go. It's just not looking good at all. This is a horrible looking plant. So, a couple things you could do. I could cut this off, and actually I could put some rooting hormone on this node, and I could get another plant out of it. Not here to do that today. I could just put it in some spag moss inside a Tupperware container, and it would be good to go, which I'm gonna, at the end of this video, show you guys a little bit about, nodes. I have another one here that's just a node. There's nothing, it's just crap. You'd think this is dead, you think it's nothing, but I actually can pull this off and get this thing to come back and this is a ring of fire node, and I could get this ring of fire to come back and grow. So I'm gonna talk to you guys about that a little bit later. For this one, I'll probably end up potting it, but I'm gonna go ahead and just cut back all the crap, get rid of everything that's gonna die. And honestly, the reason you wanna do this is because if it gets under the soil and starts to rot and then dies, it's gonna die inside and rot next to all of my other roots that are good, and then we've got a problem. And we don't want that. We don't want problems in the soil, and that's where it starts, and that's where your problems start. So I'm getting rid of all of the crap, all of the rot. I'm gonna cut it all out, and don't cut too much. Don't get crazy here. Like, that's not what we're here to do. We don't get the wrong idea. You just want to clip back what you see that's rotting and dying, and if you clip back too much, it's going to harm the plant. We don't want to do that, and we want it to be able to support what we got. But you also want to make sure that you don't have rot underneath. So I don't have any rot in the node at all. It's great. They cut it well. You can see where they cut it right there, and they did cut it on the bottom. It looks great. They did pretty well. But yeah, this is definitely going to need some TLC for sure to get back going where it needs to be. So I just pulled this other silver dragon. I had to question myself there because it didn't look silver for a second. There are other ones. There's just a dragon scale that's green, but this one is a silver dragon. It's got the bulb down here at the bottom, but I just realized, like, when I was pulling it out of my bowl there, I accidentally pulled all the roots off. So I'm not gonna pot this one just yet. I'm actually going to, I'm gonna put this one in water, and I'm gonna try to get the roots come back. I'm gonna do some newt water with this stuff, and that's NOOT. If you guys haven't seen it, if you're following plants and stuff on Instagram, I'm sure it'll show up because of the cookies or whatever it is that they're watching us. But yeah, I wanna get the roots back on this. This is not ready. I can't plant this right now. Let's talk about seeds, seedlings, germination, things like that. I don't always just order plants. I actually grow some from seeds. I grow some from nodes, from cutting, and earlier, or in my other video, I talked to you guys about this node here that it looks dead. Now, the way I can tell there's a probability to get something is that it's hard and I don't see rot on the whole thing. Now, there is some rot up here at the top, and I am going to, but I do see a node right here. There's still a node there. So I'm gonna cut this rot off, and I'm just gonna get rid of all the rot. And what I'm gonna do, when you guys aren't gonna see it, but I'm gonna put a little cinnamon there. And when I cut plants, usually like in this kind of form, I'm gonna put some cinnamon. And cinnamon's gonna destroy the fungus, bacteria, things like that, and it's gonna make sure to kind of, help you along the way to not get more rot and rot to spread. So that is what I will do with it. But I wanna talk to you guys about germinating and plants, germinating seeds and propagating and things like that. I was telling you guys about the soil before, and for my seeds, I do use seed starting soil. So what I like to do first, and this is like the old school method, when I have seeds, I take wet toilet paper and I put them in that, and then what I do is I put them in Tupperware. basic Tupperware. I get these, this one actually is the one I use most, and to-go orders, whatever, but this is my the ones that I found best are Door Fresh Chef. That would be Stephen Moll's Door Fresh Chefs. Plug. This is the ones I find best, and their meals are great, but also they have great equipment or pieces, stuff that I can use, materials that I can use for my planting. So that's another reason why I like ordering those. But these hold humidity well. So what I'll typically do is you can do paper towels, wet it, or I use toilet paper just because it's soft and the roots can grow through it. The seeds can, sprout through it. I'll moisten it, not soak in soggy. You don't want to puddle, and I'll put it inside here in a warm place. A couple days, 3, 4, 5 days, you'll start seeing some germination. And once that does happen and I see it germ, I will take it out of the paper towel or the toilet paper, and I will move over to the seed starting mix. And what you'll have then is, you can see I have some baby seedlings, saplings, seedlings, whatever it may be that you're growing, and some sprouts. These are actually really, really cool. I don't want to touch them right now, but these are the touch me not plants. I'm growing some of these to give some friends. I don't have any big ones anymore because I've given them all away. But these are really, really, really cool plants. You touch them and they move, they close up. So, and they instantly do it. It's really cool. You know what? I might be able to get one to do it. No, not yet. They're not big enough yet. But once they do, I will post a video of it. I'll show it to you guys. It's so dope when they do it, because they actually like move, and it's like alien-like. You wouldn't expect it. But you can germ in these. Leave it in there until it gets, almost close to the top here, and then you take it out. Should be fine. This is going to hold that humidity in for you. But what you also can do is if you guys are doing any kind of germinating, you can also use your moss as a way to keep moist inside. So this node here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my moss in here. I'm going to get it wet. All right, and then you're going to, and that's not wet enough, I know, I'm just doing this for video, but then you just place it there, okay? Place it right on in there, and then you put the top on, and you will see that it will bubble up, or it will not bubble up, but it will be humid, and this will be great environment to grow some more roots out of this. So we're gonna try to save this little nothing, and this is like a challenge for me. So I'm gonna save this little piece and make a big plant out of it, a ring of fire, which is a really cool plant. And yeah, just wanna make sure there's no holes. There's nothing keeping the humidity, getting humidity out. You wanna make sure that humidity stays in. So it's very important for these. But these Tupperwares work really great. They do the job for sure. That's going to be potting with me today. Thank you so much for coming and joining me. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate all the support you guys are giving me. It means a lot to me. I love plants, and I love you guys, and thank you so much. With all this negativity in the world, just try to stay positive, guys, and don't let anyone hate. So I had a couple haters watching and sending me things because I was partying on the lake, but you know what? I don't mind any of it, and I don't care what you think about me. I'm here to show you guys some cool plants. I'm here to share my knowledge with you. I'm here to gain knowledge from you guys. If you guys have anything that you guys want to share with me, please, if I'm doing something wrong, let me know. I don't mind criticism. I don't mind learning. That's what I'm here for. And the more that I learn, the better I get, and the better person I get, when you guys teach me things. So if I can help you guys, great. And thank you guys so much. Can't stress that enough. I'm here for you guys. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to shoot me, some comments or PMs or anything like that. I wanna talk to you guys about plants. Show me your plants. Post them to my page. I want to see everything you guys have. I want to see what you got going on, and let's talk about it. So again, Planting with Fam, Captain Planted. Thank you very much. Hope you guys all have a great weekend.